My wife Sherry interviewed me, asked me stuff I don't normally share about. What can I say? As any of you regular listeners know, I'm far from normal, but you know what? I've learned about spending time around other successful people. We're all sort of crazy. Anyways, Cherry had a glass of wine, a shot of tequila, loosened up, and felt like asking me whatever she wanted. If you still trust me afterwards to help me build your wealth through real estate, I'll be at the next iWin meeting on February 28th near Pearson Airport. We have two of the nicest people in Stuart and Denise MacPherson coming all the way from Ottawa to share how to raise money with RSPs and how to invest it. And also the master of raising capital, Russell Westcott, will be in the house answering your toughest questions on the subject. Russell walks the walk too, having raised 7 figures just in the last week, and that's capital, not mortgage money, as some people on social media are including in their definition of other people's money. Shots fired for anyone who tries to mislead folks like that. Anyways, we only bring the best of the best guests to iWin, and Russell qualifies as he is a best-selling author, co-author of Real Estate Joint Ventures, the Canadian Investor's Guide to Raising Money and Getting Deals Done. So these are things you can't learn from books or podcasts. These are things that we bring to the table for our Freedom 45 people. My goal for our clients and our members is not to teach them more stuff, it's to make them more wealth. Anyways, if you have an interest in real estate, let me know, because I've got a killer Freedom 45 blueprint. Don't worry if you're over the age of 45 or close to 45. Our blueprint works for anyone looking to make more money and build wealth. Even if you think it's too late for you, we can definitely help you help your children and grandchildren build more wealth. Our next Infinity Wealth Investment Network, or iWin for short, meeting is here in Toronto on February 28th and 4 weeks later on March 28th. Those are both Thursday nights. If you'd like to come, you have to act fast, as these events always sell out. You can register here at www.infinitywealth.ca. Again, that's www.infinitywealth.ca. Of course, all of this is posted in our show notes on our website, thetruthaboutrrealestateinvesting.ca. Again, that's truthaboutrrealestateinvesting.ca. Without further ado, I give you my lovely wife, Cherry Chan of realestatetaxtips.ca, asking me crazy questions.
So today I'm going to be the one asking you questions, right?
That's what you said.
Yes. Okay. So let's start with who were the ones who inspired you to invest in real estate?
It's actually, at first, I didn't think it was a good idea. I actually first wanted to do stock investing.
Did you do stock investing then?
Yeah, I did stock investing before.
Yeah?
Yeah, I paid for information, just reading reports, focused largely on small cap stocks. Because I studied financial markets and investment management in school. So that's what we learned. So we're trying to apply it in the real world. Bought some good information, I thought. Had some stocks go to zero. Because like small caps, and then like 2008 came. We were just coming out of the dot-com bubble bursting as well. But yeah, and then real estate investing came about because my ex-girlfriend, who's now my ex-wife, her father started going down the path of reading about investing in real estate, and then he involved us as well. So I wasn't necessarily inspired. It's just that's how it was introduced to us. And then we owned a couple properties all together during the credit crisis of 2007, 2008. And it worked out very well versus my stocks got slaughtered. So it was really just, this is working well. Let's just keep working on it. Let's invest more time and effort into it.
So, speaking of your eggs, there was a joke between us that you would text your ex to thank your ex-father-in-law
yes,
to introduce you to real estate.
Yes, that's true. Because he was the one that recommended to both of us that we read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which got us on that path of like for anyone who believes that they're worth more than they're making. That's a book that tells you shouldn't be working a job if you're worth more than that. And then shortly after that book was Real Estate Investing in Canada by Don Campbell. So reading that and then realizing, there's actually a business behind investing in real estate. Because investments, like when we learned investments in school was, you study a business model, you know how to read financial statements, and then you try to make an educated decision on it. Versus like real estate investing, like I had no models for understanding how that business worked. And so when I was first exposed to a model that worked for investing in real estate, I was like, okay, this is something that we can maybe make a run out of.
Okay. I also want to ask you about how your first field real estate investment went. I always remember you were investing in some illegal triplex, and you always use that as an example.
Right.
I thought that would be something that your audience want to know.
It's something I no longer own, but again, like not having guidance. So this is early on. We weren't a part of any organization. We were just entrepreneurs trying to maximize value out of property.
Very common.
Yeah. So it was an enormous house, and that was an ugly house that needed tons of work. I remember this is this is probably the serious. No, this is the most serious renovation I actually got hands-on involved with.
Oh, you got involved yourself?
Yeah, because you have to prove yourself to your father-in-law.
That is totally not the Erwin that I know today.
Yeah. Well, that's because I learned lessons. For example, like the plumbing stack was completely rusted. So it was actually falling apart as I was hitting it with a hammer. I was hitting it with a hammer to break it in order for us to remove it from the property. And I remember, not being a handy person. And I remember in the backswing, I actually brushed my eyelashes with the back of the hammer. I was like, wow, I'm really not good at this. Because I was in a tight space, right? So I having to swing the hammer. I didn't have much room for a backswing. And yeah, I brought that hammer back close to my eye. Anyways, so yeah, that's what we did. But again, like we had good intentions in place. We still had, even though we didn't know what we were doing, we still had like fire code in mind, providing 2 exits for tenants, so things like that, and using fire-rated materials. But again, it's not something I would recommend to anybody. It's not something that we do anymore. In terms of properties that we own in our current portfolio, we want to have properties that are done with permits, done to code, done with third-party observation. So then our insurance is happy, our banks are happy, we can sleep at night.
I think beyond these property investment, all I know is stories about these properties because at that time I didn't really know you. And when I met you online, after you guys decided to split that, I remember you were taking a GO train to downtown to your previous job, and you would call me, and we would be talking on the phone. At the time, I still have my cushy senior manager role in the largest grocery chain in Canada. And you would call me, and we would be silent on the phone. You may notice that Erwin talks a lot these days, and back in the days he doesn't really talk that much, or maybe at home he still doesn't talk as much. So at that time, I was always feeling like, am I really going to work? Like, is this relationship really going to work? Because he's always silent on the phone. But he calls me, which is a good sign. I remember you taking the GO train to downtown, and then you were working once or twice a week. That was part-time.
Yes.
And that was a result of you switching to full-time, or a stepping stone to become a full-time real estate investment agent. So what made you make the decision? Because when I met you, you already made a jump, half.
So what triggered the decision to get my license was I was not able to work with the real estate agent I was working with. It just wasn't working out. I actually received some bad advice. It's not like he was trying to, it's not like he was unethical. It's just he didn't understand the business of real estate investing. For example, I suggested, so good advice that I received at RAIN was, you want to be buying near the Red Hill Valley Parkway, because back then it was very, very new. And then his advice was, why would you want to buy there? So for those who don't know, it's a parkway. So it's not quite a highway, but it is a 90 kilometer an hour, like a highway, brand new road, 2 lanes each way that allows people and goods to move back and forth. Anyways, major, massive infrastructure improvement. And you say, why would you want to do that? It's already been priced in. And so this was 2009-ish. So anyone who invested in that area, I think you did pretty well, because you're probably close to tripling your home value. At least 2.5 times your home value based on 2009 versus today's prices. Anyways, so I couldn't work with that agent anymore. And there was no one I could find that I could work with who was on the same level as me in terms of wanting to build a business of investment properties. And that's when I decided to get my license. And the license was just purely to trade for myself, maybe for our partners and some close friends and family, but that was it. And that's when I got down that path of getting my license. And then I had some friends know. Actually, Andy Tran was one of the first people to find out I had my license when I ran into him at Rain, and that's why Andy Tran was actually one of my first clients. He said, "Hey, I know you have property. I want to invest in Hamilton too. Let's go up together." I don't remember exactly because this is 2010-ish, but it was something like that.
Yeah.
Andy Tran and I went out and bought some investment properties together.
And speaking in terms of when you are speaking of investing in Hamilton, so when I first met you, you were known as Mr. Hamilton,
Mm-hmm.
and I spoke to my colleagues about it. And everyone was like, "Oh, Hamilton.
Yeah.
What, Hamilton?"
Yeah, they're right.
Yes, Hamilton is the industrial town, and there is such a stigma of Hamilton at the time, or at least in the circle that I was in. Of course, they're not totally right, and they're not totally wrong.
Well, they're right about the stigma.
Yeah.
They haven't spent any time in the city, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So is there something that you can tell us about Hamilton that are great? You're Mr. Hamilton at the end of the day. And for the audience that don't know, I was mostly impressed when we first went out. Erwin gave me a map tour of Hamilton. Actually, he didn't just give me a map tour. He gave me a real tour of Hamilton that he was giving to the clients at the time. And I thought it was really impressive. The map tour involved the tour of the Red Hill Parkway.
Yep.
And it also involved pointing out where the major employers were in Hamilton. And I was super impressed. Not that, as a girlfriend, I wasn't really that impressed that it was part of our dating activity. I was pretty impressed as a professional, from a professional point of view, seeing a realtor knowing all these development in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, like anything, I've always wanted to be the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
And my own model for the real estate service company coaching business was I wanted to be the realtor that I wanted to work with. Mm-hmm. So in order to do that, I basically had to know all the answers on why the investment worked. So Hamilton, massive affordability benefits. Like we now live in Burlington. Burlington, the average household price is almost double of Hamilton, and we're neighboring cities. So right there, you can see there's a price disparity, possible arbitrage opportunity. Not technically arbitrage, but great value. The rents are really high. Again, compared to the neighboring city, our rents in Burlington are only slightly higher than rents in Hamilton.
I wouldn't say necessarily slightly higher. For our basement in, the suburb in Burlington, we were able to rent it out for $950, inclusive of utilities, for an apartment that size. In Hamilton, you could easily, because it's also open concept, it's walk-out basement. It's not underground basement. I think you could easily get $1,200, $1,300 for
easily.
It. Yeah, I was very shocked to find out how low the rent it is in Burlington.
Yeah, Burlington doesn't make sense for investment purposes if you're looking for rent to price ratio. But yeah, Hamilton, a lot of people have to go there for affordability reasons, and then Hamilton having a university, a lot of people choose to stay, and. Hamilton just got beaten down so low with all the job losses from the steel industry.
Yep.
It almost had nowhere else to go but up. They have some great leadership in the city as well, especially in the economic development office. Very open for business. They had some fantastic programs for investment. Not so much for us, but for the bigger folks. And then the level of entrepreneurialism in the city, especially around real estate, fantastic. They have fantastic people. People like Steve Kulikowski and all these other, now lots of Toronto investors are coming in doing large projects. Luke and Michael Wyrot, they're doing a large condo development, the Pure 8 project. All this money's flooding in because they see what's happening. People want to be in Hamilton now. And you meet anyone who's under the age of 30, who's from the West End of the GTA, especially the West End of Golden Horseshoe, they want to be in Hamilton now because it's a happening place to be.
Well, I see the beauty of Hamilton. from all these natural beauty as well.
One of our first dates. We went to the waterfalls.
Oh yeah,
The city waterfalls.
yeah, that's right. We went to the waterfall. Yeah, the waterfall.
You had no idea, right?
Yeah, I had no idea.
On a weekday.
Yes, on a weekday.
How'd you pull it off? You had a job still.
I had a cushy job.
Right, okay.
Relatively cushy job. So I, like, for the benefit of our audience or anybody actually that wants to invest in Hamilton, I've been trying my very best to convince Erwin to give this map tour. At least recorded it, and so you can share with people.
Right.
I hope that you can do that one day, because I was so impressed, because he goes through different districts of Hamilton, which area you should invest in, which area you shouldn't be investing in, or maybe the area that you would be investing in, but you would be expecting to spend a lot of money on in terms of renovation. Mm-hmm. Like, he knows all these things that he's probably keeping it all to himself right now for no reason.
No, our client, we do it with our clients as well. My team does it with our clients. We do it largely virtually now, even with our realtor version of MLS. Mm-hmm. So same thing that you used to see, except that we would do usually like virtually online. Most of our clients are from out of town, so we'll do it virtually online, and then with more context around real estate to give our investor clients some context for areas. For example, we have lots of clients who are like 35 and up, 2 kids, really busy, mm-hmm. right?
Just like us.
Yeah, just like us, both full-time jobs. So then they say, oh, I heard this neighborhood is good. Okay, it's fine. We'll zoom in on this neighborhood, and then we'll pick a house, and like, this is what we're looking at. You know, this is a century home. If we're buying something, you probably have to update the electrical and plumbing, right? Is this something you want to get into?
Yeah.
And that was the point of the tour, was to be able to narrow down what it is they wanted, right? Because we had clients that wanted to be active enough to be in places like West Harbor, wanted to be like central Hamilton, south of King Street, mm-hmm. on the lower city. And then we had the clients that want to do, like, for ourselves, most of our clients fit into the same category, is that we're mostly in the Hamilton Mountain, mm-hmm. or Stony Creek Mountain, because we want less old. And then we have the clients that want like completely like simple turnkey. So then we're south of the Lincoln Alexander Parkway. Mm-hmm. We're in the newer parts of Stony Creek. We're buying newer properties.
Now, okay, speaking of investing in Hamilton and our own investment strategy, there are, like, I see clients all the time, my own clients, and they are not necessarily Hamilton real estate investors. Mm-hmm. One of the things that people mention is that, or the counter argument is that, well, Hamilton is getting too expensive now. There's no way to get a cash flow property. How would you answer that?
Lots of ways. We're still doing it.
We are. And I never invest in anything that's not cash flowing or does not carry its own its own.
Right. We probably will, though, because we've looked at a couple options.
Yeah.
Like I've talked before. Okay, so let's take a step back. So cash flow, positive cash flow, covering your expenses, always highly advisable. Understand, though, for people who want to, I call it often winning the World Series or winning the Super Bowl, mm-hmm. you often cannot take short-term gains into account for that. You basically have to put more eggs into a basket. For example, we looked at buying property just to hopefully break even for potential development purposes down the road. Right? Our good friend Charles Waugh, he's bought vacant land. There's no income coming in, lots of money going out the door, right? Made gigantic returns.
Yep.
But you can't follow a formula saying, oh, it has positive cash flow, I'm not doing it. Mm-hmm. Right? For people who develop, people who land bank, stuff like that. So, okay, let's go back to how you get positive cash flow in Hamilton. So the easiest is probably, I'm going to call it easy. It's pretty easy, I think. If you have a good contractor, we do a lot of basement suites. We have a couple ourselves, and now we're renovating one property to be an Airbnb, and we're renovating another property to also be an Airbnb. And should rental licensing come in, then we may do seniors rentals. We may rent our houses out by the room to retired adults.
Well, that's a very new concept to me as well. Trying new thing is not necessarily the easiest thing to do for an accountant. I remember back in the days, so when we first met, I think we dated maybe for a year or like maybe 9 months. And I was living in now our Toronto townhouse, and now his name is actually on title because he has
sweet.
he
gained a
has,
property.
he has the bank requires him to be on title.
How'd that work?
Yes. So he is actually a part owner of the home now. And I remember I was having this job, living paycheck by paycheck, and you were the one who introduced me to read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yep.
And you were the one who convinced me to refinance my property at the time. It has appreciated from for $60,000 to $80,000 in 1 year of ownership, and I refinanced. But then I would only be able to take out like 60,000 out of the 80,000 that I was supposed to be eligible to get out. I was only able to get out like 60, and I used the 60 to somehow buy a property that with a guy that I just dated, and he's not putting any money in because he was in the middle of getting a divorce as well. He's short on cash.
Yeah, I forget, but yeah, I didn't put any money in.
Yeah.
I put all the work in.
Well, yes. So, speaking of that, tell me what kind of work you start, because that wasn't Hamilton that we were first investing in. We were investing in somewhere called St. Catharines.
Yes.
And I remember you were taking tours and taking lessons or with a veteran St. Catharines real estate investor.
So you bring up a couple of good points. It was St. Catharines at the time was an area I didn't know well in terms of for investment purposes, and I have a friend who owns 10 properties, and he doesn't work. He doesn't have to have a real job anymore because he bought early and he makes lots of money off his properties. That's the kind of guy I want to learn from, and that's actually great advice for anyone who's getting into investing for the first time. Go meet someone, make friends with someone who has what you want, and learn from them. And his name is Mike Gillespie, and I remember he was showing me his properties. And then we came to this area known as Jacobson near the Penn Center, and he says, "This area is A++. I want my next property here." And then I just would put on blinders after that. He wanted to show me other neighborhoods, and after that, I'm like, "No, I'm done. I'm good. This is all I'm going to focus on." And then about 2 weeks later, we found that for our first property. But also take a step back, we were in St. Catharines because we have clients in Hamilton, and our policy is not to compete with our own clients. So my clients buy in Hamilton. I don't have any clients buying in St. Catharines, and that brought me to St. Catharines. And also it brings us to another point when you say there's not enough, for people who say there's not enough cash flow in Hamilton, then your options are to move west. Continue moving away further away from Toronto. Go Brantford, go Cambridge, go St. Catharines, go Niagara Falls. Those are your options as well. Just understand the cash will only be better, but your risk is likely higher as well. And just even to take the simplest example, you have a nice condo in downtown Toronto. What's the likelihood of you going vacant? Yeah. Right? But your cash flow is not non-existent, probably quite negative. Maybe not today. Maybe if you held it for a couple of years, you're probably done quite well. But if you bought one today, you're probably negative cash flow, but your vacancy is almost nil, right? Well, I would at least want to say that you did your homework and I did my homework on this guy. I trusted him. 9 months. He was one who went out. You did your homework other ways. Yeah. Right. Let's get back to the topic. You went out with Mike for the tour. Was I there? I'm not sure. No, it was just me. Like you went out, and at the time we went for the traditional or the more traditional. I don't think you've been to St. Catharines before when we bought the house. Exactly. I had no idea where St. Catharines is, other than the fact that you mentioned Brock University, and then I realized because I'm an accountant, Brock University has a great accounting program. Yeah. That's all I really know about Brock. So the city's a buy. Yeah. So no. So I was a bit concerned, but then I was looking at MLS because you have a cushy job, you have the time to look on MLS and do some number. And I'm an accountant. I am sitting in the office, and the last thing and numbers give me comfort. So I did the math and it works out. And I remember learning from you how to navigate through the student rental situation, because that was our first property and we're operating a student rental and we were scared it was vacant for the first couple of months for renovation purpose. And then September came, it hit, and then it wasn't completely
hassle-free, I would say. And through this process, I also learned about trusting your instinct at times. I remember seeing one of the tenants, and I met him, and I thought he was trouble. That was my gut feeling, and I didn't trust it. And then it did, like, obviously it turned out bad as well. Not as good as I want it to be. He still paid the rent, and I had no problem with that. It's just that he was
scared of the tenants.
Yeah. And it also bring out the fact that throughout the experience, I also realized that, well, I feel it's much easier. I don't know about your female listener, but for me, I feel a little bit hesitant to confront people. But that could be just my personality, but it's hard to confront a guy that's much taller and bigger than you.
Right.
Like, why are you doing this?
Right.
And he basically just laughed.
Remember he came with a good reference as well.
Yeah.
Right. He was referred to us, but he was fine because he lived by himself previously. He just didn't play well with others.
Yeah. Well, having said all these, like, our property has been smooth sail ever since.
We bought it for sharing prices.
We bought it for low 200.
Yeah, bought it for low 200. I saw the little tiny for sale by owner sign.
Yeah.
I talked to her. I went across the street to like a printing shop, like a UPS store or Kinko's type thing. Did the offer there. How did I get it to you? I don't know.
Email. At the time, email was already available. We're not that old.
It was funny though, but I was hustling to get that deal done.
Yeah.
Oh, between me seeing the property and getting the offer to her, I think it was an hour.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So
while you were in Toronto, while I was in Catharines, and you haven't seen the house.
I was the one that's on title. So it was also, I wanted to bring up the story about us putting the first offer in for the house that we put the offer in. It was on the market, but we later backed out. Remember, after home inspection.
Oh, for down the street.
Yes, down the street, and that is the day that you found our next property. I want to bring that up because we got a really super awesome home inspector. It just brings up the point that you need to have a trustworthy home inspector on your team, know what they are doing.
Not just trustworthy, but he's a practicing structural engineer, and there's not that many of them.
Yeah.
Right. It drives me bonkers when the like that's what they have to say, but when a home inspector says you should get a professional opinion. Well, I should have just brought that professional here. And that's what we get with Joe Seymour.
So ever since then, I've been using him. We've been using him as our sole home inspector.
Yes, no, like it's Joe is busy because he's damn good.
Right, that's true.
But any inkling of a busted foundation, we get Joe.
Yeah. I almost want to talk about the stuff that you don't normally talk to other people.
Okay.
Like even me. Because when I know Erwin, and it's been so many years, but today I still feel the same way. Erwin has a shield. He's always so calm, so chill most of the time. And there are certain feelings that I don't get to see. And doing certain things, like you're always so calm, or let's just do it all the time. And I would be like so nervous. Everything is written on my face. I'm so stressed. For you, you're not like that.
Our contexts are different though.
Yeah. But then was that caused by something that happened in your past?
Being calm
or shield. It's almost like a shield block off your emotion type of thing.
Right. The shield likely comes from when my parents divorced. Yeah, because I was young. I was probably around 7 or 8. So it's more of a self-defense mechanism that I picked up. So yeah, I can shut stuff out easily that way. And then I also do block things that I don't dwell on things. Not on things. I'll dwell on things like, for example, our investment property or I win. I dwell on those things a lot, but I won't dwell on things that take my energy.
That's awesome. That doesn't really help because I still cannot I don't see a lot of you having your guard down. You're always guard up. You're always calm. I don't even know how you feel at times.
Stressed.
Really, I don't really see it that way.
It depends on what it is, though.
I can't tell from the pictures that you're posting online.
Right, but the properties that we deal with, for example, like with my mastermind group, those are easy for them. Right?
Yeah, I know.
So I stand on the shoulders of giants that way. So when we're running into a property, haven't seen it, not going to see it.
Yeah.
Don't have an inspection condition.
Yeah.
Like that's how it is, right?
Yeah.
Right, to get the deal done, because losing the deal is way worse than when anything we can find in an inspection, right?
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that
I know,
it
but
caused me stress to not having someone in our team, because Erwin and I are supposed to be on the same team. He's just like, well, I bought this place, by the way, and I've never seen it.
There's always ways out, though.
Yeah, right.
If the deal's good enough, like, what can they sue us for? What damage do we cause? We can probably go get them more money from somewhere else.
No, like I get that, all that. It's just the principle. Another thing that I want to bring up is, how do you balance the time between being a dad and doing all these things?
I don't think there's such thing.
Then how do you make sure that you're a good dad to our kids?
I don't know. I don't know. I think they're pretty happy kids.
We got good kids. We're super grateful for that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, they're pretty good, and we get them help, and we're proactive. For example, our daughter got punched in the face 3 weeks ago now. So we're moving up her timeline to start doing jiu-jitsu. Right? And yeah, I've always been a forward thinker in terms of, not like forward thinking, but thinking I'm always like way ahead in my thinking. You know, like when we bought Robin her first house, you know, she was 3 months old. She wasn't even 3 months old. We closed on it when she was 3 months old. Because I was afraid that we wouldn't be able to afford her university. Right? So we better invest today. And that's what we did. And same thing, you know, I don't want to worry about my daughter when she's away at university and she's far away from dad. And I also want her to be able to defend herself. Because like Me Too is very likely real. Even if it's not real, quote unquote real, enough people have said it's real. So that's good enough for me. Right?
Oh, it's real.
I know it's real. I know it's real. But it's like, you know, we don't need to go court over it, right? Type real.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, 100% real.
But anyways, I want her to be able to defend herself and I don't have to worry about her. So that's why stuff like that, right? And I think their kids will be fine. And I already know that statistically they'll be fine, right? One of the major things is the mother's education level. You have your master's, so the kid's likely to be fine. I have my honors in business, and we're pretty well off. Statistically, they're going to be fine. So,
you had started doing CrossFit when we were together. I remember you would come home and got super excited about, hey, like I clean and jerk this much weight, and I deadlift this much weight. And to those audience that don't know these terms, don't worry, because at the time I had no idea. Like I don't even know what bench press means, and I didn't know. And today, of course, I know.
I think every guy knows though, bench press.
Yeah. Well, I had no idea. And he came home and he would tell me how excited he was to reach a PR, personal record. Yeah. And recently you started doing jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
Cannot stop to amaze me to keep challenging yourself, because there would be days that he would come home with like bruised eyes.
Yeah, black eye,
and then bruised ribs.
Oh yeah, I take my shirt off, get in the shower, and look in the mirror, and I have bruises where I had no idea.
Yeah. You wonder where he went.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Often my back of my arm where I can't see. You'd like, what's that? And like, holy cow, that hurts.
Why did you keep doing that? It sounds really crazy. I mean, it sounds crazy to your wife.
Yeah. I think some of it is baggage from being a kid and being picked on. Right? It still burns in my head today when these bigger kids were throwing rocks at my brother. We were walking to the bus stop together, and these same kids, we're going to the same bus stop. But yeah, they decided to throw rocks at my brother anyways. They opened up my brother the back of top of his head, and my brother's older than me and bigger than me, and nothing he can do. There's two of them, and they're way bigger than us. So just that feeling of powerlessness. And I don't want that for myself or my kids ever again, because now I know what I would do to them, and they would never do anything ever again.
There was a side motivation that you had. I remember you told people about it.
Yeah.
That the boys always joke about how their dad fight each other.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the many silly ones.
It's pretty silly.
I mentioned to a couple of guys and they're like, yeah, you're weird. Like, oh, just people I hang out with. So I never started these arguments when we were in elementary school, but we were young and other boys would say, my dad could beat up your dad. And like, yeah, you're probably right. My dad's an academic. He's a doctor. He's a very smart guy, but he's not physically intimidating in any means. So my hope is that when my kids get into these arguments, half the time they'll be right.
That's a good motivation.
Right. And then the catalyst that pushed me pushed me off the fence to get started was, I don't know if you remember that discussion. How we were saying, how great it is. The Go Bus stop is right by our house. Mm-hmm. So Robin can go to McMaster when she goes to university. Then you ask, what about her son? Like, he can go wherever he wants. He's supposed to be bigger than I am when he's bigger. Yeah. When he's older. So he can take care of himself. And our daughter can go to McMaster and she can live at home. And you said, that's not fair. And I said, okay, so I slept on it. And then the next day I said, okay, fine. As long as she has her black belt in her martial art of choice, she can go to any university she wants. And then I thought that was kind of hypocritical. Why are we just pushing our kids into these things and we don't do it ourselves? Right? And the best way to teach or lead is by example. So why you sign up? Yeah, that's something about me as well. When I make a decision, I take action pretty quickly. So I was signed up within a week.
That's good. Somebody told like there are people out there that would call us power couple, and I would never admit it, and I don't believe, and I don't agree with any of that. Mm-hmm. We ourselves have a lot of problems, and we fight all the time. Yeah. I don't want to share the nice stuff with your audience. I want to share something that's real. Mm. Tell us the most recent argument that we have. Other than buying a property unseen, what is the most recent argument that we have? Probably I slept on him for not paying attention to our kids. Yeah.
Which is usually fair, right? It's tough, right? How do you quantify what a good parent is? I think the first step is I think most parents just want to be better than their parents. So I think it was in our argument, I said, I'm light years ahead of my own dad and light years ahead of your dad.
Yep, which is also a fair statement.
Yeah. I have lunch and dinner with my kids almost every day, usually breakfast too. Lately it's been rough with all the stuff we have going on, so I can't get up as early as I want to. But yeah, probably just we fought about my time away from the kids. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much everyday struggle. Yeah. We are the fortunate one, or we are the one that recognize our shortcoming early on. We recognize that we are both messy people. So we realize that we don't like to clean. We don't like to do our laundry. Even at the beginning of our relationship, Erwin even offered to pay for the cleaning service. So then he doesn't have to take care of that in our house. So we recognize that we got a lot of help from our nanny.
Yeah. And my mom.
And Erwin's mom as well, my mother-in-law. So then we don't have to worry as much about our kids and taking care of them. We're very fortunate that way.
Cooking, cleaning. Laundry.
Yeah, everything in the house. We're still very messy everywhere, if you can see. But
one of my favorite things is, just regular thing is, after dinner, we take the kids up. And put them to bed.
Yeah.
Oh, even better, more recently was when our nanny started bathing our kids before 5 o'clock. So then after dinner time, we could just play with them, read stories. We didn't have to bathe them. We didn't have to do any work at all. But now, and then when we come downstairs, the kitchen's clean. Table's clean, wiped down, dishes done, dishwasher's going. There's nothing for us to do work-wise in the household.
Well, we are very fortunate.
Yeah.
Fortunate to hire the right person. Yeah. Got super lucky with the hiring process.
And then I think it's also really important that people make enough money that they can afford these things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. We have so many discussion about even a discussion about whether we should have our second kid immediately after our first one. And thankfully, Erwin was not very convinced at the time that he wanted the second one immediately. And his first reaction when I said that I wanted to try for the second one was that, can we afford this? Can we afford him? Can we afford another child? because having a child is expensive for sure. And I said, well, we may never get a second one. Who knows? Worst case scenario, at the time, we already have a couple of properties. Not many. Just
we had a couple.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had at least 3 investment properties, maybe 5.
No, not that many. Or maybe yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Like, my response to it was that...
we had all St. Catherine's properties before Robin was born.
Yeah. Like, at the time, my response was that the worst case scenario is that we sell one property. And last year, when I decided to hire my... another accountant, a fully licensed accountant, Joanne, a friend, to help me out. And licensed accountants are not cheap.
No, anyone who pays accounting fees knows.
So when you know that you're hiring someone with that type of income, then it is a risk that you're taking for just like any entrepreneur out there.
You're taking on a fixed cost.
Absolutely.
A very high one.
And I was super scared. I think my stomach was hurting for at least a week or 2 weeks. And then I talked to Erwin. The first thing that you said was, it has to be done. Worst case scenario, we sell a house. We're fortunate, extremely fortunate that way, that we have that, I guess, safety net.
Yeah. And also you miss every shot you don't take. So you don't know unless you try.
Yeah, it works out really, really well for us.
Yeah, just everyone should have a safety net.
Yeah. Like some people's priority or the goal for their real estate investing is really just have financial freedom at the end. To us at this stage, we are grateful for the safety net that we have.
And the forced savings because we are spenders.
Yeah, we're a spender.
And this year 2018 wasn't a good year for my business. So all the more important that we have forced savings essentially provided by our tenants.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's it. I don't know if there is anything that I want to tell everyone about you.
It's been coming up a lot. It's actually, you brought up when I was working part-time. I phased myself out of work. It was very pragmatic, analytical decisions for me to leave work.
That was the question that I initially wanted to ask as well.
Because I've been getting that a lot lately. I see a lot of people, people from the outside looking in, think it looks great. 2018 wasn't a good year. We could be in for more turmoil. All these people that are becoming agents, just be ready for that. And
the competition.
Yeah, the competition is crazy.
Yeah.
Right. You better have carved out your niche. Because remember when I started because there was no one else in my space. No one was an investment agent in Hamilton that just did that. Right. Especially at the level that I wanted to be in terms of understanding how to run a business. Why the business makes sense, and then how to run the business. In terms of actually, investment property is a business, right? And now there's I don't know how many, right? My Facebook and Instagram feed is filled with self-proclaimed experts.
I think back in the days, when you first started your event, I think that was 2003 or 2004? 2003, before Robin was born.
2013.
Oh, sorry, 2013. Yeah. And nobody was doing it. And now everyone's doing that. Yeah.
Well, there was Rain and there was Rockstar Real Estate.
Yeah.
But other than that, no one was doing it on the smaller scale.
Now everyone's doing it.
Yeah, everyone's doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Erwin can be sometimes an a-hole.
Yeah, totally.
To his wife as well. I don't know if that's something worth sharing. It's very...
Yeah, I'm not the most patient person. That's part of it.
Yeah, he doesn't communicate. You don't communicate very well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Again, it's just not the most patient person.
I don't even know how to describe this situation and example and story that we have. There would be... I think, obviously, I came with a lot of baggage as well into our relationship. And to me, I felt like right now I'm super, compared to when I started our relationship, when I first started with our relationship, I was at the lowest low in my life. And I remember we had kid, our first one, after I gave birth to Robin, and I asked you, should I stay home, be a stay-home mom? And Erwin's response, what's your response?
I don't remember.
your response was like, you got this high education, I can't afford to have you stay home. Something like that. That was before we hired our
Makes
nanny.
sense,
Yeah, something like that. And then I started my accounting practice.
Yeah.
And like, for those of you who know or starting to own real estate or like start the journey somehow, start having a business, you would appreciate that. It's not the easiest thing to have a baby, a newborn by your side, and then start your own accounting practice, start your own business at the same time.
And there's all those people who say, oh, I work from home, I can raise the kid, it'll be fine.
Yeah, and that's not true. That's totally wrong.
It's so hard.
And then I turned to Erwin, complained so many times. And then all he said was, suck it up. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
No compassion, no sympathy, nothing.
Because the voice in my head's way worse than that.
Which is the other side that I guess I don't see often. And there's no communication of how you feel.
And let me clarify, when I say the voice in my head to what I say to myself is way worse than anything I put out.
Yeah, but still, to me, it was really harsh. I was probably still very hormonal. Yeah. And there were many times I go back to him like I wanted to give up. And he just kept pushing me forward and forward. And to this day, of course, it looks a lot better. And it feels a lot better. And it's actually making decent money. No longer at the stage that when I first started. And obviously, to build something from nothing to what I have today gave me a lot of confidence. In the past, I've always relied on people's recognition to give me the confidence. So I still look for that because that's how I was brought up as in an Asian family.
Asian family, yeah.
So you don't get that. And my dad's presence inside the house was very limited because he was always working. Until today, today he's still always working. So he's
6
not
days,
there.
12 hours a day.
Yeah, he's not there. And we wanted to get his recognition. We wanted to get that praise. And before I met Erwin, I was always looking outward for that recognition. And today, I'm proud to say that I would be able to look inward. And if there's anything that I don't like to see within our relationship, I would be happy to fight with him all the time. And that I have to thank you for that. Even though you are an a-hole at times, and it sucks.
Yeah, this is why I don't coach people. And understand that the dialogue in my own head is like why doesn't this person understand what's going on? Because I don't consider myself that smart a person. Right? I was a mediocre student, as a mid-level student. I'm an intermediate, almost everything. Right?
You went to Ivy League school.
Yeah, but still, I was a middle of the road graduate. Right? Anyways, yeah. So my own thinking is like I get it, and I'm not that smart. Right? Remember that conversation I had with those two PhDs? About trying to include the renovation in the mortgage. And I couldn't make them understand. And I was like, oh my God, you have PhDs.
That is not very nice.
No, it's not very nice. But again, I'm trying to help them.
Yes, I remember.
You can include this electrical upgrade. Like the sellers want to give it to you. Take the electrical upgrade as I forget what it was, included in the purchase of the home, whatever. Get a credit on sale. That way, you put forward less money into the deal. That becomes a better deal that way, right? Less investment, better deal. And the PhDs didn't understand it, right? But yeah, I get super frustrated, and yeah.
I remember listening in on this particular conversation, and he was almost screaming at the client. And I was like, well, can't you just have a little bit more patience coaching your clients? And I guess it's also because you're at a different level, and as in you're an expert in what you're doing, and they're just brand new, so they don't know.
And I think it was also it came out later on that they just weren't good students. They weren't very good listeners. They didn't take my advice. Came back to bite them in the rear. Yeah. And then that's frustrating for me. Like, well, that you're wasting my time now, right? Right. The outcome is not what you wanted because you didn't listen to me.
So now it's 2019, and I think we are going to a conference to plan our next year ahead or the next 10 years ahead.
It's interesting.
What's your plan for this year, and what's your plan for the next 5 years? And by the way, I actually never got any plans from him, so I really don't know his goals. I don't know if I'm part of his goals. He never discussed his goals with me, and this is the only time that I get to sit down one-on-one with him to ask him these questions.
That's
why I started. That's why I started by saying, why don't I ask you questions? Because then I get to know you a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. So just no different than when I was pushing on you. Like, no one's going to do this for you. It's always that thought process in my head. You want something, push for it. It's not working, push harder. Still not working, push even harder. Right?
No. I get all these like fluffy stuff.
But it's not fluffy. That's honestly what's going on in my head.
No, but then what's the real plan? Like, what's our family plan and goal? And
well, for example, like with iWin, right? We weren't planning on selling tickets in January.
Yep.
Right. But when we got a surprising result, a surprising, very successful result, we moved timelines ahead. Right. My goals. It's more like what windows of opportunity do we receive? Mm-hmm. Right. Like that property that we bought. I don't know if we necessarily planned it. Right. No, we didn't. We had no plan. We had no goal to acquire. I was kind of thinking like we need more property.
Well,
but again,
like
we had nothing written.
Properties. Yes, but
we didn't discuss it. I think we argued about it. You thought, oh, we have enough. Like, I don't know. I think we can take on some more. And the reason why is because my context is because I spend so much time with successful real estate investors. So do you, and I see how successful they are by acquiring more property. And like, we shouldn't neglect our own portfolio anymore. We should take on some more properties. Because before that, we haven't bought a property for like 3 years?
No, just 2 years. Like maybe a year.
Still.
A year.
Consider what we do for a living.
Okay,
Isn't that a long time?
December 2017 was the last one that we closed.
Right.
December 2017. And they were not all completed in the same year, right?
Sure. And then, but again, my context is like my friends will do 2 properties in a month, right? We do 2 properties in a year. We can handle more. Anyways, you asked me what goals for 2019. That's the funny thing because I'm trying to finish 10X, the book, before we go to 10X. And Grant Cardone, and I'm like, great book, great storyteller, but still, I just have trouble focusing because it is a lot of motivation stuff, and I generally need someone that needs motivation. Mm-hmm. But then I caught a phrase that he said: 10X isn't for everyone. It's for people who want like massive wealth or massive whatever in their life, massive improvement in their life. And I'm thinking like, no, I'm good. Because we've already discussed this, for example, with our businesses, we have no interest in expanding beyond Ontario. Mm-hmm. Right? So anyways, goals. I've never been a massive fan of goals because they change so much. Mm-hmm. It's again, like with iWin, we didn't think we were going to sell memberships so early. Mm-hmm. But then the market, our customers seemed to want it. And then they said they wanted it. So then we'll continue to push forward with a new goal, essentially. And it's really more of a pragmatic set of action steps that we're going to take that make sense based on what the market's telling us, based on what our customer is telling us. And so we'll continue to go down that path until we come to another hurdle, and we'll deal with it then, right? But within the confines of Ontario.
So I want to use the last little bit to give you a chance to thank your wife for supporting you on all these adventures.
Oh, yeah. None of this is possible without you.
Well, no, you don't say it that way, though. You never really.
I think you're just not listening to me.
No,
I've told you many times.
No.
It's my dreams. But no, none of this is possible without you.
Well, that's better.
Right.
Yeah.
Just look at every company. The second highest paid person is often the CFO, right?
Well,
who's paid more than the CFO usually, other than the CEO?
Well, let's not get there. The point is,
and also you support me too.
That's a better answer, I think.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you said, like I guess because we have some investments with our businesses that we're doing, not real estate related, like not as in like houses and stuff, that we're talking about 6-figure investments, right? And for anyone,
I threw the same line to him this time.
What was that? Oh yeah. Worst case, we sell a house.
Yeah, worst case scenario, we sell a house.
Yeah. Worst case, we sell one of our houses in order to make a 6-figure investment in this business that we're trying to do.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
And yeah, wow, crazy, eh? We thought we'd end up here.
Absolutely.
But again, like, we wouldn't end up here unless we weren't pushing.
Or with the safety net of real estate, to be honest. We still have 2 kids to feed.
But if we didn't have the success of our portfolio, we wouldn't keep pushing forward.
Mm-hmm.
We'd be like, oh, this doesn't work. Let's go do stocks, or let's go, I don't know, be Instagram influencers or whatever, right?
That's hard work.
But whatever it is, as an alternative to make passive income, we would find something else.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
But because of the success of our portfolio, that pushes all our timeline. That shortens our timelines. It moves up our timelines up, right? And that's something that we want for our family. So again, far thinking forward, I'm old.
You're old?
Yeah, I'm old.
You're not that old, huh?
Yeah, I'm old. I want grandkids. So how do I get grandkids? I make sure my kids are financially secure, right? Because why are people delaying? We know lots of people who are delaying starting families, right? Because they're trying to get their careers in place. They're trying to save up enough money for a property, right? We've already discussed it. We may give this house to our kids.
Yeah, we will try our best.
Right? Like, I selfishly want my kids to be mortgage free, right? For their principal residence. They can have good debt too. But otherwise, because we have friends who don't have mortgages, right? It's awful how they got it that way, because usually they inherit stuff, right? It's awful. Like, I'm sure they give anything to have their parents back, but we see their lifestyles being debt free.
I also see the lifestyle of people that are, well, I mean, I can't say in general, but I've seen people that got stuff for free. Mm-hmm. I think we discussed this before, and make it too easy for them. We
don't want to be too easy, though.
Yeah, we don't want to be too easy.
Yeah. But again, like, we look at around so many successful people, and it's not necessarily anything was given to them either that got them to where they are. A lot of them are just intrinsically motivated. Mm-hmm. And then there's arguments what we were given. Like, we are both very lucky, right, to have what we have.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right, but we weren't like I graduated with only like 40,000 of university debt, school debt. Like, that could have been so much higher if not for help.
Yeah.
Right. Even though I have debt, like, I was living rent free in my parents' place. Right. They paid for a good chunk of my school. So yeah, I had a lot of help, but still, I'm a pretty motivated person.
I guess being appreciative also helps too.
Oh, I'm a very grateful person. I think it all the time.
Just not with the wife.
I don't always share. I don't always talk. Yeah, I don't always talk about it.
Or maybe not with your dad either.
Oh, not with my dad either. Because I think part of my motivation comes from it was taught by him. He didn't realize he was teaching it. It was probably, again, this is classic Asian parent thing. You come home with like an 85 or a 92 or a 94 or whatever. And then dad will say, where'd the other 15 marks go? Where'd the other 7 marks go? Right?
Yeah. So recently, I don't know if I ever share with you that about how I was on the honor roll when I wrote my final exam to become a chartered accountant. And at the time, I got interviewed by the Chinese newspaper in Canada, in Toronto. Yeah.
What's the name of the paper?
Yeah, Singdao.
Oh God, I thought I named the beer.
No.
That's the extent of my Chinese.
No. So we kept a bunch of those papers, like script. It's all cut up and it's laminated, and it was left in my parents' drawer. And everyone went to when we went back to Hong Kong to visit, and you found it and you took a picture of it. And then I guess because of that, my dad, when he was fumbling through all the stuff, he also saw it. It got on top of the pile or something. He saw it, and then he sent it and he took a picture of it, and he shared it with the group, like the family, the internal family group. Oh, like I saw this, and I'm so proud of you. And I was like shocked because I saw the picture and I didn't even know how to react to it. And then later on, he forwarded, maybe he didn't see any response from me. He forwarded to the bigger family group. And he's like, oh, I'm super proud of her. And I was, again, I didn't even know how to react to it because my dad was always like shut down. He was never there. So that's part of the Asian family.
No, totally. Like my dad congratulated me on whatever award I got recently. And I often will say, this is just the beginning.
Yeah, it's never enough, huh?
It's never enough. No. There's limits. Like again, we're not going to travel for anything.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to leave town for anything else.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it.
Yeah, for now. Are you local to the Greater Toronto Hamilton area? Are you interested in becoming a real estate investor, earning extra income in your sleep without getting calls from tenants or unplugging toilets? Then please join us live and in person at the Halton Real Estate Investors Group meetings at the prestigious Sheridan College in Oakville, Ontario. Our meetings are catered to both seasoned and novice investors to share and educate the fundamentals and truths about real estate investing so you too can earn seven-figure net worth like our clients and guests of the show. How great it would be to be financially free, to take more time off with your family, retire earlier and more comfortably, or to support your favorite charity. If this is of interest to you, then get on the invite list at www.truthaboutrealestateinvesting.ca/meeting. The host of the meeting is yours truly, Erwin Cito, that's me, aka four-time winner of the Real Estate Agent of the Year to investors for the years 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018. Results are not guaranteed, but our investor clients who've been with us since 2012 are earning over 400% returns on cash flowing investment property. So come check us out as soon as you can. Due to Ontario Fire Code regulations, we can only have so many attendees, and we have been waitlisted in the past, so don't wait to register at www.truthaboutrealestateinvesting.ca/meeting. Thank you for listening, and if you enjoyed the show and would like to learn more about real estate investing, then you do not want to miss my top 10 tips on real estate report. It is free to download. I've interviewed many of the leading authorities in real estate, including best-selling authors Julie Broad, Don R. Campbell, Russell Westcott, and Tom Karadza. My superstar investor guests include folks who acquire 2 properties per month quite regularly or transacted on over 100 properties personally. I learned a thing or two in my own investing and distilled it all down to you into 10 you cannot ignore tips if you want to be a successful investor. To download the report, go to www.truthaboutrealestateinvesting.ca/book. Again, that's www.truthaboutrealestateinvesting.ca/book. Again, it's free, and go on, be awesome because I believe in you.